to end the podcast, the cast did have their own opinions on their own characters' endings. Jorah's actor liked that he got a definitive end instead of wondering where his character would go beyond the final season, like Jon's character, because apparently the showrunners wanted Jorah's actor Jorah, Jon, and Tormund to go beyond the Wall or Jorah to join the Night's Watch, but they felt as though Jorah's better ending was protecting Dany. Amelia Clark believes that Drogon will keep flying around with her body as a form of grieving until it decays.
Huh.
Brienne's actress liked that Brienne didn't crumble from Jaime leaving her, and that she, goes back to work. She always loved her work. It's what she wanted when she was first introduced, and it's what she ends up with. Both actors for the
defending Sansa.
Both actors for the Hound and the Mountain love that their characters went out in the blaze of glory. Isaac Wright, who plays Bran, fears that Westeros is now a surveillance state, but also feels as though Bran would make a good king with how level-headed and impartial he is.
I think it would have been a kind of fitting if Jorah became Lord Commander of the Night's Watch. I think I would have liked that ending better. That would have been interesting.
I feel the same. Oh, by the way, before we move on from Brienne, apparently there was a scene cut out where Jaime. I'm so glad they cut this scene because wow. Apparently Jaime, before he leaves Brienne to go back to Cersei, he says to Brienne, "I don't love you. No one loves you," and then he just walks away. It's like, oh my god, that's awful. God. Holy shit, that's just mean.
They really screwed that up. They really screwed up the whole Jaime, Brienne, Cersei relationship thing. They just didn't get it. They didn't understand it.
In regards to what George thinks, he said, "I hear both extremes. There are people who say they hate the show and say, George, write your books and fix things. And there are people who love the show who say, I don't care about George's vision anymore. It's a novelization. It's fan fiction. Who cares?"
I don't think it's people that read the book or
I don't even think that even happened. I think
he just made that up. I do think.
Yeah, I think he just made that up. But anyways, he continues on saying, "When I finish my books, people can argue which is right, which is wrong, and which is the real story. None are the real story. These are fictional characters. Which one resonates with you more?" End quote.
I'm going to get so much shit for saying that George makes stuff up. Like,
you already get shit for saying that. So
well, there's this one quote there where he's like, I get messages constantly with people about why the seasons are different, and binary star systems and all of this, and I'm like, no, it's just magic. And I'm like, really? You're getting messages all the time about that? Really? Like, of all the things you're getting messages about, that's what you're getting all of the time? No, you're not. Just a lie.
Honestly, I think George is being very, very diplomatic, and his books are the original thing, and Game of Thrones, the TV show, as much as I love it, and we, in a sense, owe a good chunk of the past 5 years to this show, because it really impacted our lives. So I owe it that respect. But he's being very diplomatic, and the show for me is an alternate universe. The books is really the main story.
Yeah, and he's said that. I mean, he said it's like the difference between Spider-Man comic book and the Tobey Maguire Spider-Man or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
They're all Spider-Men, and there's certain aspects that are fundamentally the same, but they're also very, very different, right? So, I mean, if you're going to say, is Tobey Maguire's not Spider-Man, because Tobey Maguire's Spider-Man didn't go through the Gwen Stacy thing, before, is that not part of fundamental part of Spider-Man's existence? But that didn't happen to him on screen. He went straight to meeting Mary Jane. And so, is Tobey Maguire Spider-Man not Spider-Man? Tobey Maguire Spider-Man, he shoots webs straight out of his wrist. He doesn't have a web shooter.
Mm-hmm.
Is that not Spider-Man? Well, so it's he made that same kind of thing. The show, it's the story, and there's certain aspects and there's certain major beats that are the same, but the book is something else too, So they're the same story, but not the same story. And that's just the way multiple media fiction is, right?
Yeah. I gotta say, the book really offers a lot of insight. The one thing that really annoyed the fuck out of me was when actors and actresses came out after the finale aired and they were defending the show. And I get it now, because there are entire chapters devoted to these people constantly trying to, like, make this show happen. Like, Preston, you have no idea. I gave you the book. You have no idea
Right.
how different this would have been, even in the first season. I get it. There's respect and love for the cast and crew,
then
but
there's like Shia LaBeouf kind of stuff. You know what I'm talking about with that when I say
no.
that? So
Shia LaBeouf?
Shia LaBeouf, whatever, he he is an interesting guy, and in many ways, you know, I have a lot of respect for him, which is interesting. So like he's this child actor. He goes and he takes these movies that are supposed to be really huge, and then while he's doing them, he realizes like, oh shit, these are horrible, and my reputation is kind of destroyed. Like I'm making all this money, but these movies are horrible. Crystal Skull is horrible. Transformers is horrible. And when in interviews, they're like, "What do you think of these movies?" And he's like, "No, they're bad." And people like Steven Spielberg are like, "Well, you're stupid for like trashing a movie that you're in. You don't do that. You're never going to work in this town again. You're cut off." And he was cut off. He was cut off from all the big studios, and he started over again as a nobody, doing these really weird experimental films, and you know, reestablishing himself. Um, and you know, it's strange. Like he was honest. He was honest. Yes, you know, yes, he's also insane and all these other things. And you know, he chose to go into these movies and do these things. Like he didn't, you know, no one forced him to sign on to Transformers 2 or 3. I don't know what his contract is. Maybe he was forced. But you know, the thing is, you know, he got lots of money and fame out of it and whatever. But there's this belief and somewhat fear in actors' minds that if I trash the thing I'm in, I'm never going to work again. Some producer's going to be like, he trashed it, fuck them. And some of them have that attitude, like Steven Spielberg has that attitude, like you cross me, you don't work, you know, don't fucking, you're a team player, you're part of the project, you know, don't fucking diss the project. And so I understand, like from an actor's perspective, like that's where their bread is buttered. You know, they have to say, "Oh no, it was great, it was fantastic." Like if they said the opposite, like "Nah, it kind of sucked," boom, like they're on a blacklist.
There's a great Shia LaBeouf story that I really like. Apparently, he was in a play or something, um, with Alec Baldwin, and Alec Baldwin was showing up late to rehearsals, and that really pissed off Shia LaBeouf. So he literally tells Alec Baldwin, "Yo, get your shit together. What the fuck are you doing? Know your
Yeah.
lines." And that because Alec was fucking up, and Alec's like, "Who the fuck is this kid?" And Shia LaBeouf was like, "Know your fucking lines, bro. Come on, what are you doing?" So apparently, Shia LaBeouf shows up to Alec Baldwin's house with Alec's script in his hands. He goes, "Here," throws it at him. "Make sure you know your fucking lines," and he drives off. So
Wow.
that's
I
ballsy.
mean,
Alec Baldwin would be the kind
yeah,
of guy to
and
beat the shit out of
crazy,
you.
right? And crazy. Ugh.
So, but anyways, the book very insightful. I loved like the first couple of chapters, but I've noticed a lot of weird things. Once again, Alexander Siddig, who played Duran Martell, is not in it at all.
Yeah.
The guy who plays Stannis Baratheon, Stephen Delane, he's not in
Mm.
it one time. The funny thing I would say is that
And I'd say both of them kind of trashed the show to the media.
did Stephen Delane really trash the show? Because the
He said
guy.
he didn't understand Stannis, and he wasn't really into things, and he didn't care. So he just like said his lines.
I don't give a fuck what he thinks about it. He did a great job. And
Oh yeah.
the funny thing I will say about that is Liam Cunningham, who plays Davos, Stannis' right hand man, actually just like his character, his show counterpart, actually defends Stephen Delane several times by saying Stephen has, or Stefan, whatever his name is, has a certain type of humor. People don't understand the guy. He's a very good dude. So he goes to bat for his co-host, for his co-star, which There you go. I
Yeah.
mean,
I mean, that's the weird thing about human nature, right? Like humans have these weird, often misguided senses of loyalty where I'm going to defend this person because they're my friend or I feel that, or they're my team member. There's people that I worked with for like 5, 6 years, and some of them were just worthless. They were worthless, but at the same time, like we went through the same shit together at work. We dealt with the same, horrible supervisor, or we went to the same country together and did a project at the same time. And so you have these shared experiences, and at the end it's like if someone's like, what do you think of that person, I'm not going to trash them. Like, I've been through a lot with them, and we're like part of a team now, and that's human nature. So I think a lot of people have that kind of idea. Like, I was part of the show for like 8 years of my life. I still want to work in the business. Some of these people I'm friends with. Am I going to trash like the project like that I just spent all of this time on? That's also my bread and butter because I want more work. And yeah, I understand why they're just like, no, it's great. It's great.
I get that too. But yeah, I know I gave you the book. I know you haven't read it yet, but I would give it a read. It's very. I have to do a review on it. I wouldn't pay the $30 for it, which I paid
Yeah.
$30 for it. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge. I wouldn't. I wouldn't
I'm also
recommend.
thinking, by the way, I was like, if Carmine asks, his opinion of a Preston video that he doesn't like, he's going to be like, no, that video is horrible. He's going to be honest.
I'm gonna say what Preston made that video. Well, I haven't seen it yet. I should check it out. But no, like I wouldn't pay $30 for a book that great read, but I will never pick up ever again. It's not a Song of Ice and Fire where you'll go back and reread it a couple of times later
Yeah, and
on.
it's also not like a trophy book, where you finish War and Peace and you put it on your shelf, and every time somebody's over, they're like, "Oh, this person read War and Peace."
I don't even know if I would categorize it as a coffee table book. Like last year, a book I really want to get, The Art of Game of Thrones from seasons 1 to 8. Like it has all these cool pictures. That's a coffee table book. This, I don't even know like who this is for. I can't say it's for hardcore fans, maybe collectors, because hardcore fans are book readers, and book readers hate what the show did to the series.
Yeah, I mean,
So
I'm surprised how. I mean, there was a few pieces of new information, but hardcore fans would kind of know like 2/3 of the information probably in the book already,
I mean, if
right?
you've read a lot of this, I would say at least 15% of what I read in this entire thing, I'm just, just whatever. 15% of it at least is stuff that if you've been keeping up with Game of Thrones, like interviews from cast and crew and writers over the past like 10 years, you already know. But there are
Yeah.
interesting insights that I never knew. For example, season 1 was going to be completely different. There was a whole scene where Robert accidentally like punches Cersei in the face while he's drunk at the
Yeah.
tourney, or the Hound's origin story was going to be told to Sansa by the Hound himself, and
Oh,
that
is Lena Headey's love life in there at all?
I don't think so, except for that one thing I told you about where she had kids and she didn't want to do the nude scene, so
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. No, no, but I was talking about like, yeah, how she had a.
affair with Pedro Pascal.
Well, yeah, there's that, but also that she used to be in a relationship before Game of Thrones started with the Braun actor.
No, that's not.
Uh,
I don't think I don't even think remember an interview from the guy who played Braun. A lot of
yeah.
actors and actresses are cut out completely, or they barely make an appearance. I thought it was fucking weird that Stannis isn't in it, but we get the chick who was Cersei's body double on the Walk of Shame. She has a couple of quotes in there,
Yeah,
so
that's funny.
yeah. But
I mean, it's
no,
maybe, yeah, yeah. I mean, it sounds like he could have made it much longer, but they were like looking for a certain length.
I'm assuming he's spent quite a bit of time on that set, so I'm pretty sure he's made friends there, and he wants to make the whole show's production look cooler and better, and everything look nicer than it really is.
Hmm.
Like I think Red Letter Media said it perfectly about the Star Wars prequels behind the scenes versus the sequels behind the scenes. And the prequel behind the scenes stuff, you can see like a real human production going on with the movies, whereas in the sequels, everything is shiny, sparkling, everybody's smiling, all the nitty gritty
Yeah.
stuff is cut out. So, I mean, Yeah, but overall, I'll do a review on the book. Overall, um, yeah, thank you for joining me on this. I just really want to discuss some of this behind the scenes stuff. I know people bitch about like, the show's over and all that stuff, but I can't speak for you, but I do owe some degree of gratitude and respect to the show because without it, I wouldn't have this channel and all the fans and subscribers and my life has changed completely just discussing the show.
Oh
So,
yeah, I mean it's just so much fun to have like this huge um, national, international event that everybody had to like be part of. You know, it was
mhm.
great. It was great.
The next show we have to cover, besides Witcher, besides Witcher, the next show we have to cover. Have you been watching The Boys?
I actually I just started, so I'll
You
have it
you
done
too?
soon.
Oh, me
Mhm.
too, bro. I'm on season 1, episode 6, and fuck, what a great. You liking it so far?
I haven't finished the first episode, so I'll let you know when I do.
Oh,
But
oh,
yeah, I've read the comic. I'm not actually that big of a fan of the comic, having read it, uh, but well, I'm hoping that the show is a little better.
oh yeah, we're gonna cover Witcher, The Boys, all that stuff. Guys, thank you so much for joining us, and as always, we'll see you next time. Have a good one.